After the first two games of the Eastern Conference Finals, Dwight Howard's looked extremely different on the offensive end of the floor. He typically struggles against the Boston Celtics, and Kendrick Perkins in particular. After a bad performance in Game 1 in which he scored just 13 points on 10 shots, while turning the ball over 7 times, he came back in Game 2 with a strong 30-point performance in which he dominated the inside and eventually fouled out Kendrick Perkins. A lot of it had to do with balance, quick decision-making, and good footwork. In Game 1, he was kind of all over the place, while in Game 2, he made good, strong moves with quick decisions. This first play is a good example of how Kendrick Perkins has been playing him throughout most of his career. He bodies him up and gets him off balance while he takes a hook shot. You can see here that he's kind of fading away and just flings it up there. This is almost the exact same hook shot in Game 2. He gets the ball deep in the post and instead goes straight up. He's very balanced and has no wasted movement on this hook shot. Through much of Game 1, Orlando tried to run a lot of sets to get Dwight Howard deep post position against Perkins. But like Perk does against most guys, he finds a way to body him up and get him to an uncomfortable spot on the floor. He often gets Dwight Howard to rush his post moves, especially with that left-handed hook shot. Dwight countered this strategy by getting into much more of a rhythm against Perkins in Game 2. He often waited and was very patient with how he got into his post move, getting into a rhythm before he would put up the shot. In the first game, Dwight Howard was very slow to recognize the double team when it came. Once it got there, he would throw up a panic rush shot, and usually miss. But in the second game, he was much quicker with his decisions. He would see the double team coming, make a move, and attack the defense before it could respond. He got good quick shots off against the Celtics, and there was nothing they could really do about it, because they were too slow to react to him. Dwight has a reputation amongst fans as not having any kind of post game. It's kind of unfair, because even though he doesn't have the skill set of an Olajuwon, or the power and sheer dominance of a Shaquille O'Neal, he does have some moves that sometimes get overshadowed by his lack of touch around the basket. Orlando uses a lot of movement with Dwight to try to get him into the post in different positions and keep the defense off balance. On a play like this where he's moving around and diving into the low block before he gets an entry pass, it gives him a lot of room to operate. You can't look at that move and come away thinking he's Ben Wallace in the post. Of course, he's not also the type of player you can just dump the ball into every play and expect to get a good quality shot. He's never going to be your typical hulking big man, who just puts his ass into players and moves them out of the way. He doesn't play the game like Oliver Miller or Jerome James. He plays like an iRobot. He's a freak athlete in the mold of LeBron James and Josh Smith. Orlando has to act accordingly by letting him be an athlete in this series, with a lot of movement to find the open spaces on the offensive end of the floor. He has to be able to move around Perkins. Maybe you can't teach him how to have great touch around the basket, but you also can't teach most guys how to spin off a defender and go for an alley-oop. Orlando needs to get him moving, give him room to operate, and spread the floor. If Boston's going to abstain from double teaming him, then you've got to make him pay, and this is the only way to do it. Dwight's more than capable of carrying the load offensively and scoring a lot of points inside, and it's also maybe the only way to free up the shooters on the outside and get Orlando back into the series. This has been Zach Harper from HardwoodParoxysm.com.